So we have the resources, mineral resources, human resources, untapped resources, they are there. But for as long as you put people in government who don't understand how society should be wired and how they should be motivated and encouraged, it will continue to be every man for himself and God for us all, which is the doctrine, it's the philosophy in society now. It's every man for himself. With that, we can't move forward.
Okay. Now, let's look at your students, because you're a senior lecturer. So let's look at your students. What do they feel about this problem of underdevelopment in Nigeria? I mean, if you were to sample opinion of them, tell me their feeling of what can be the solution to Nigeria.
Well, it's a generational issue because I joined the UI in 1993 and things were still relatively okay. And as part of my instruction in my development class, because I teach a course, History 403, Development, Concepts and Realities in the Third World. And they have been raising this issue because, you know, younger folks see things quickly than we older ones because they also have their expectations. They have their fears, they have their aspirations. So they have been questioning me since that 1993 set to say, hey, do you think the way things are going that we can recover from this? Of course, for those of us who grew up in the 70s, in the heady days of petrodollars, we saw the world differently. Consumption was good. And even by the times we got into the university in the 80s, things were still okay. You got local government bursary, you got state bursary, you got federal government bursary. And the week you got your bursary, you just buy a ticket to London to go and enjoy your weekend in London. You didn't need a visa. In Ife those days, there are so many of our colleagues who leave for London Monday, Friday evening and come back. By Monday morning, they are in class with you. So life was good. So we saw the world differently. We saw life differently. And so when the students began to ask, I said, well, from my experience of Nigeria, we have the resources, we have the capacity. I'm sure we will recover. And then things continued. And we didn't recover. Not only didn't we recover, things also started getting worse. And so these questions continue to persist in my class to say, oh God, this issue of development. And looking at the trajectory of things, I also could no longer be that optimistic about the way things were going. So when they question me about this issue and their desire to migrate out of the country, what would I say? Why tell them that no, Nigeria will be okay? There were no indications to that effect. So from 1998 upwards, we began to witness many of our students leaving. And so we have also experienced people in their final years, even final semester or final year, leaving once they got an opportunity and abandoning their degrees. That's how bad things have become. It's not only in Ibadan alone, all over the country. ASU has been on strike since February now. I was talking to some of my colleagues yesterday and they said, yeah, they knew some of the students who had come to take their transcript and had left. So what do you want to say? You know, if you, like they say in Yoruba cosmology, if you go to commiserate with somebody whose mother was killed and eaten up by a tiger, what precisely do you want to say to him or her? To say, oh, sorry, I had the same experience. That was the same way my mother was eaten by a tiger. No. So if you don't have the experience of what this younger generation is going through, then of course you are not in a position to advise. And that's what they say about in those days when we were growing up. If you wanted to sell a medicine to an Hausa man and you tell him it cures this, it cures that, the Hausa man in those days will ask you, okay, all these things you are talking about, has it happened to you before? If you say no, that's a minus. And say, okay, if it has happened to you, have you taken this medicine before and it works? And you say no, you have never taken it before. Say, so why are you selling it? The same way in which it's become very difficult to preach to this younger generation to say, well, Nigeria will be good with, and then they are in society, they see people who have been outside, who have graduated for 5, 10 years, they are no job. What do you want to tell them? So the generation is disillusioned, they are angry, they are fed up, and they are living in droves. And for any country in which its future, that is the younger generation, which is supposed to constitute its future, is abandoning the country in such a large number, then there's a problem solved, which must be addressed very quickly. So yeah, our students are disillusioned, just like everybody. And lecturers are disillusioned, policemen are disillusioned, soldiers are disillusioned, everybody is disillusioned. And so we must all get up and find an answer to this issue.
Thank you so much for that. Now, the reason we must get up and find an answer to the issue is that this is the only country we can actually effectively call our home. Yes. You see, I live in Italy. A lot of Nigerians are here. Not all of them, but some of them actually are on the streets. They have no home. Some of them are working very hard in different type of factories. And some of them don't even have paper to start working. So life also in the diaspora is very hard sometimes. Okay, I'm not talking of those who go around and start doing illegal things, and maybe tomorrow you see with a lot of money throwing around. But that is not the reality in many parts of diaspora. Life here, the energy that the Nigerians are putting into work to be able to get out something here, if it is vested at home, a lot of things will change. Yes. So what I'm trying to look at now is that as a lecturer on development, do you think it is possible that people, Nigerians in Nigeria, or even those abroad, can actually look at the problems that we have today as opportunity and look for a way to turn it around? You think we can possibly make miracle in this situation?
Yes, even in very bad situations, you must find opportunities in those kind of situations. That's what gives us hope as humans. We must not dwell on our victimhood. And that's what Nigerians have going for them. If we had also given up like everybody, Nigeria would be in shambles now. But simply because we stay here, we see opportunities. Yes, we find tribulations also, but we see opportunities and we grab those opportunities. People are still building houses. People are still even buying brand new cars. People are still sending children to school. People who work here and who have opportunities here are still sending children abroad without stealing money, to school abroad without stealing money. So yes, we can still leverage on our resources, our opportunities to find solutions to this problem. But the only thing is that we must do it in a sustainable way that will give more opportunities to more people. If I said, okay, people are still making money, they're still building, people will ask you, oh, that's a few out of the large population of 200 million people. Yes, but what we should be looking forward to now is how to create more opportunities for more people so that a large percentage of the 200 million people would conveniently say, yes, I am doing well. But we cannot do that until we all come to, well, not all, an important segment of society will come together and say, let us chart a path for this country. If we don't chart that path, it will be 200 million people doing 200 million different things. And then, of course, like I said, there won't be any hope out of that. So, yeah, we look for opportunities within the country to make do with whatever we can get. And people are surviving. Some are doing very well, but don't let leave it to chance. What we are doing now is leaving it to chance. Let us articulate development. Let us articulate the way out of these problems. Let us ensure that we develop sustainability. It's not for 5 years, this country is doing well, another government comes in 5 years, destroy things, we start all over again, start rebuilding. No. Let us look for measures, approaches, strategies that will create sustainable development. That is what we must be looking for now.
Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate that. Now, what would be your concluding statement here, your final thought in terms of how to resolve the problem we have in Nigeria in terms of development? Please go.
Well, I think we should start playing with ideas. Right now, people are much more into themselves, trying to survive, existentialist issues, existentialist problems at home, abroad, everywhere. But let us spare a thought for ideas. Let us identify groups that we can belong to. Yeah, hometown associations are good, but of course, it's usually more designed for festival, for conviviality, camaraderie, esprit de corps. Let's begin to think about development. Well, in my hometown now, there is the Petimodu Development Forum, which surprisingly within 1 year has done so much, brought people together so much, and focused towards development. This one is different from the old hometown associations we used to have. The old hometown associations would send people to school, which was good, would come home for festival, but this one is basically totally, absolutely focused on development. Development like training, development like ensuring that business ventures are raised. In fact, they are even bringing money together now to develop their own community bank, because the only bank we used to have in the town has closed shop because people did not have enough to save in the bank. So the bank was no longer sustainable. So now people are coming together to say, okay, if the business people are taking their bank, let's develop our bank, which is what, and that takes us back to the small dumb type of thing in South Korea. So it's going to, development is going to be from the grassroots. It's going to come up. So let us not focus on Lagos and Ibadan alone. Let us go back to our communities and start this movement. It's not a society, it has to be a movement. And with that movement, I am sure that Nigerians will begin to understand that we can actually ignore the government. The government will become anachronistic. It happened in the history of the United States. People began to move beyond the government. And so it was the government that was running after the people. I foresee a situation in Nigeria in which government will become very anachronistic and people will ignore the government, and then development will be about people, people will be about development. That is when government will come and beg us for a buy-in. So let's ignore government.
Thank you, Professor Adesina. It has been a pleasure on my part. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.